Welcome back to the channel. We're Fandom Fix. I'm Austin and that's Ty. And guys, there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if they could become something more. And man, oh man, I think this group of remarkable people is about to go up against the X-Men. And that's what we got today in the epic reveal of the Avengers Doomsday Cast. And we want to jump into what happened. Who's going to be in this movie? What do we think of it? And is this a good idea to put this many actors in one movie? So, Ty, what did you think of this reveal? It was a lot. Marvel spent a lot of time, about 5 hours in a live stream, to reveal this by looking at a bunch of chairs. We didn't even see any of the actors other than Robert Downey Jr. So it was an interesting tactic for Marvel to do this, but it definitely got our attention. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was brilliant by Marvel Studios to do this, to hype this up. Obviously, it goes without saying that Marvel's been kind of in the tank lately with what they've been coming out with. I think they're trying to right the ship. I think they're going in the right direction, and this marketing is a good strategy in that path to back to success, as you would. But I'm super stoked, man. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of characters and actors that I saw in that list that I'm super hyped for. I think Gambit's one of the ones that I'm most hyped for. Channing Tatum, I've always just loved Channing Tatum, and the fact that he just embodied Gambit, I just thought that he did such a great job.
I'm about to make a name for myself.
Exactly. I mean, he clearly did make a name for himself. So that one among many others. But we got like some core Avengers team members. We got X-Men. We got Fantastic Four. We got who else? We got Thunderbolts. So I mean, the list is large, and there's some really great actors, some really great characters. There are some key missing folks, and I'll let you talk about that, Austin. But overall, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm most excited about, or at least I was shocked by, Thor was not a surprise. Sam is Cap. Shang-Chi made sense, even though we haven't seen him in forever. It's about time they bring him back. Ant-Man made sense. The Thunderbolts, it does make sense. But honestly, they spoiled that movie by basically telling us that they're all going to survive. So very interesting that they did that move, but we knew Bucky was going to be in it. The Fantastic Four also has me pumped. I mean, obviously, we don't know how that movie's going to play out later this year, but it does make sense. And they actually had me a little worried because they're going through the cast, and Pedro Pascal hadn't been announced yet. So I'm like, well, what happens to Reed in the movie? But they obviously went by to end it with the higher profile actors, so that made sense. But I think the biggest shock was all the X-Men. I mean, one or two makes sense, but to bring back Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Professor X and Magneto is pretty wild. And on top of that, James Marsden as Cyclops. You brought back Rebecca Romijn as Mystique. And then you have Alan Cumming, honestly, was the biggest surprise to me as Nightcrawler. Man, X2 is one of my favorite Marvel movies. And Nightcrawler is such an interesting character. And so I'm pretty stoked that they're doing that, to be honest with you. So, but I think the things that confused me the most was okay, they must be withholding characters unless they're jumping to those characters to Secret Wars, because there's a lot of characters missing here that they could have included. I mean, clearly Spider-Man is a who knows what's going to go on with him. We know Spider-Man 4 is coming out. It's going to be after Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Is he going to be in Secret Wars, or are we going to get Toby and Andrew back? Is it going to be Tom? There's a lot of questions around that, so that's up in the air. Hugh Jackman obviously is going to show back up, but I guarantee you him and Deadpool are showing up in Secret Wars. So that leaves, the question of, there's other Avengers missing, Captain Marvel. Obviously, I don't really care about her, but, Brie Larson, are they going to continue her? Or, the Marvels did decently well. Are they going to bring her back? What about Kamala Khan? What about some of these younger Avenger characters? You also have She-Hulk. We saw in that leaked, concept art that they have plans for Hulk and She-Hulk, and both Mark Ruffalo and the She-Hulk character were, missing from this cast. So I think that art actually was betraying Secret Wars versus Doomsday. So a lot of questions up in the air. I guess my biggest question for you is do you think this is a good idea? I mean, that's 30 something actors in one movie. Endgame had a lot of characters as well, but Marvel's been in the tanker, like you said, for a while. There hasn't had the same buildup that we had with Endgame and Infinity War. It's they're just kind of just throwing a bunch of things at the wall now, bringing back beloved characters, trying to make it, cohesive, trying to get people excited. And definitely, they got our attention. That's a huge drop from Marvel. But there's still a lot of questions like Robert Downey Jr. Is it going to work for him being Doom? Do you think this movie is actually going to be good, or do you think the Russos are just going to go fan service?
And the Russo brothers, I trust. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
I genuinely believe that the Russo brothers can do some movie magic. I was a huge fan, obviously, of Infinity War and Endgame. Obviously, we had some really key characters that aren't going to be in these movies. But to your point about some key characters missing, I think the ones that are missing, i.e., Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, She-Hulk, they can stay missing as far as I care. Like if they never come back, oops, it's not going to bother me.
They got lost in the multiverse.
Yeah, I mean they got lost in the sauce. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I would miss Spidey. I would miss Hulk. Like I want to see Mark Ruffalo again. I want them to do his character justice. I want him to be like angry Hulk, not docile Hulk. So there's some things that they can do. I think that they can make it work. I think there's some things they can pay off, like a Thor and Loki reunion. That would be epic. I think that would be fantastic fan service. I think a lot of us would love that. I might even shed a tear. Because the character arc of Loki has just come so far. And then so many X-Men characters. There's so many payoffs you could do with the X-Men characters. Having a key, discussion between Magneto and Professor X, maybe for the last time, if you think about it. There's a lot of things that you could throw into this that could be really, really good. And I am still of the belief that they're not showing all of the names that are going to pop up in this. I think there's going to be some key cameos that they're kind of keeping close to the chest. And then it's going to be really exciting when we see it on screen.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm glad you mentioned Loki because Tom Hiddleston, awesome to see him back. We saw him in Loki season 2 where he's in control of all the time threads. And I think that's going to play a huge part with Doom trying to take over the multiverse and throw them all into Battle World with Secret Wars. And so I think Loki's the key. I mean, you and I actually talked about that months ago.
Yeah.
How Loki's the key behind all this. Yeah, that was one of our theories. And so I think that Loki is the key, and it's good to see him back. And it's Thor also has had a weird character arc. I would love for us just to forget about Love and Thunder because that movie was terrible. Yeah. But I would love to see Thor back as, who Thor is. Some goofiness is fine, but bring us back to the bad A Thor. I would love it. So I think my biggest thing here is for the X-Men. You mentioned the last time with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Obviously, they're pretty old. But I think that they're going to have a prominent part of this movie because this is like a send-off, just like kind of like Deadpool and Wolverine did the whole like X-Men verse thing with Fox. I think this truly is going to be the send-off because these aren't going to be the X-Men we get moving forward with the MCU. Like this is going to be like this like big like culmination of everything Marvel's done for all these years in the film history. And then literally I think there's going to be like kind of like a reboot-ish thing with
soft
MCU.
Reboot.
And we're going to get the new X-Men, which is going to be younger kids, obviously, to be more accurate. And, there's been a lot of rumors with that casting. But I think that's going to be a way for they're going to help save the multiverse and Doom and all these things. And then it's going to lead into these new heroes, probably led by Fantastic Four. And Sam probably will still be Cap and those type of things. So I think this is the Russo brothers' last chance to be like, hey, Marvel's not done here. We got some gas left in the tank, and then get enough trust back for them to do that soft reboot.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they prove the haters wrong and prove the believers right. I genuinely do.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out. Avengers Doomsday is now in production, officially announced today with the cast listing. Love seeing Robert Downey Jr. give that little hush, whisper at the end, looking at it and smiling and walking away. At the end of the day, RDJ is going to be a force to be reckoned with, regardless if we, agree with the bringing him back or not. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But we would love to know what you think out there. Everyone is talking about this on the internet, and there's a lot of thoughts out there. So what did you think of this cast reveal? Are there some things you like? Are there things you don't like? What were the most shocking reveals for you? Let us know in the comments down below. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video about Marvel, Star Wars, all the things in the fandom. But until next time, we are Fandom Fix. See you next time.